Hello everybody, this is Rob, the Baseball Time Traveler. Today I'm going to do a special tribute to my all-time childhood hero, Willie Mays. As most of us know, Willie passed away last week, June 18th. I'm recording this on June 24th. I'm going to show you 24 cards and have 24 slides. So I hope you enjoy this. We're going to see some fun cards. I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience watching Willie Mays as a young kid and the thrills that he brought to all of us who have seen him live or saw him through videos and interviews and so forth. I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of time on his history. I think we all know that. Here's a picture of Willie shown in the lower first row on the left-hand side there, far left, with the Birmingham Barons, where he got his start in the Negro Leagues. And then he moved on to the minor league program with the New York Giants. Started with Trenton and then ended up with the Minneapolis Millers before he was brought up in 1951. Here's some great shots of Willie in his early days. Just thought the youthful look. This was probably on the right side, is probably a 1951 photo, and 1952-53 time frame on the left there, Phoenix spring training time. Fast forward about 10 years and there's Willie maturing, now in his early 30s, playing for the San Francisco Giants. This picture I found, and to me it captures everything about Willie Mays. This young man loved baseball, played baseball with all his heart, and just I think that's why I used to see pictures of him or watch him on TV, and I think that's why I really became just enamored with Willie Mays as my young childhood hero. Speaking of my childhood, this is the diamond that I played my Little League baseball on, and if you take a close look behind the third base stands there's a covered patio area, or is actually a picnic area. And many times off after practices or games, or we'd just be down there playing some ball, we would trade our baseball cards or show off our various cards. And this was a time frame. I played my Little League in the mid-60s, and my very first card, as many of you know, was the 1964 Topps Willie Mays. Then we have the 65 and 66. And this era kind of just captured my Little League days, those days of innocence where you're playing baseball, learning the game, and just having a whole bunch of fun. And I wanted to share some of the cards. Here's a 1964 Willie. Here's the 65. And the 66, which I think of all the Willie Mays cards, I think the 66 card to me captures who Willie really was. Perfect smile, great card. I know it's a pretty simplistic design from Topps, but I really love this card. I think it's a great card. Here's another shot that, boy, this was about the age I was, and boy, would I have enjoyed having an opportunity to get an autograph from Willie Mays up close and personal like that. But never had that opportunity. But I'm sure happy for all those young boys and young girls who were in that position where they were able to see Willie right up close and get an autographed picture or a card or a program, something of that nature. Now we'll move on to 54. This is his 54 Bowman card. It's not in the greatest shape, but it represents a lot to me. This was the year the Giants won the World Series in 4 games against the Cleveland Indians. And I picked those photographs because I think, I would imagine that the photo session for the 54 Bowman card may have revolved around this time frame here. It almost looks like Willie was changing positions, or the photographer was changing positions a little bit, but it matches up with the t-shirt underneath. He's not wearing the long sleeves, and I thought it was a pretty good match. Next card, here's a shot of him in 1955. He won the home run title. He hit 51 home runs in 1955, and that's my birth year, and this took place just a couple of months after I was born. And there's that card from 2015. It's a Topps highlight card. Next, here's Willie in his heyday in New York. I think this picture epitomizes the intensity that he played with. You're never going to catch Willie on a slow day. He was 100% all the time. And we'll take a few seconds here to take a look at some of the 1950s cards from Willie. Here's his 1957 Topps. Followed by his 1958 Topps. Great smile there. Here's a real nice card. This is 1958 All-Star card. I always enjoyed this card. I think it really pops. Great colors. Pretty well centered. Really love this card. And the 1959 card to close out the 1950s. And the Giants had moved from New York to San Francisco by this time. And Willie was settling into the Bay Area lifestyle. All right, now we go to the 1960s and 70s, kind of the middle part of and end part of Willie's career, and we'll take a look at some 1960s and 70s cards. Here's his 1960 Topps. Here's his 1962 Topps. Yankees beat the Giants 4-3 in that famous 1962 World Series. Here's Willie's 1962 All-Star card. And I don't have a 61 or a 63 Topps Willie, not my favorite cards, but I do have the 63 Fleer, which I thought was a nice card. Now we'll skip ahead to 1967. This is, again one of my favorite cards, great smile. Willie Mays, 1967. And because I've limited it to 24 cards, I skipped 68 and 69. We'll just go right to 1970. And here's his 1972 card, his last Giants card. And I'll be honest with you, at this stage, I was now in high school, and it was quite apparent that Willie was starting to lose his skills. He was aging at this point, and I was really kind of sad that he went to the Mets. But it was kind of maybe therapeutic for him to go back to New York because he loved that city and the city loved him. Here's his 1973 Topps card. And to round out his run here, his playing days cards. This is in 1974. He had retired at the end of the 73 season. This is him in the 1973 World Series against the Oakland A's. And he retired and was inducted into the Hall of Fame. First ballot 5 years later. Here's some shots that I thought were emblematic of Willie charging at home plate, avoiding the tag. I remember watching him so many times on TV. Never saw him live at Candlestick, but his outfield skills were unmatched. And that, to me, was a great photograph depicting him grabbing a ball barehanded. And I'm sure he fired it into third base and picked off the runner trying to turn a shot and make it to third base. Now we're going to go to some cards that I think, well, actually, sorry, I skipped there. This is the 1965 August 22nd game, Brawl at the Bay. And as you recall, Juan Marichal and John Roseborough were involved in a very horrendous incident on the field where Marichal attacked. I did a video on this, and it has been watched by many, many people. But this pitch, I'm not sure this is the actual shot, but after that brawl had been concluded and play resumed, Willie hit a home run off of Sandy Koufax, and I thought this might be that shot. And I wanted to show that to everybody because this, to me, kind of represents Willie, Sandy, two of my favorite players of all time, and I just think it's a great photograph. Now I've got a series of combo cards, if you will, and showing Willie with some of his fellow competitors and I'm sure good friends. This is the 1958 Topps combo card, Rival Fence Busters, and that's Duke Snider. And what I did is I tracked down the photograph, or at least the photo session. That's not the exact photograph. If you take a close look, they move just a little bit, but this is a photograph that I was able to find. The next one depicts one of my other collecting favorites, Richie Ashburn, the Philadelphia Phillies, a Hall of Famer as well, center fielder. He and Willie had a couple of battles for the batting title in the 1950s. Richie actually won 2 batting titles, and Willie won in 1954 with a .345 average. And I thought this was a great shot of those two, and here's the actual card. Next is a photograph and card of Stan the Man and Willie, and I don't know about you, but I think the picture on the right should have been the card. I don't know why Topps chose the photograph on the left for the actual card, because Stan looks terrific in that photograph, as does Willie. But here's the actual card, Pride of the National League, 1963, which was Stan the Man's final year. Those two had ultimate respect for each other, I'm sure. Next one, I couldn't find the actual photo for the manager's dream, but a little trivia question. I always like to try and throw these in, and you can freeze your video at this point, but I'd like to have you try and figure out what ballpark they're in, what game it was, and who are the 3 players depicted behind Willie and Mickey. And now I'm going to give the answer. It's the 1961 All-Star Game. This is at Fenway Park. That's the green monster. It looks more like the brown monster. You've got on the far right there's Hank Aaron. In the middle, many people have mistaken that for Ernie Banks, but it's actually John Roseborough. And on the far left, I believe that would be Elston Howard. And here's the actual card. Next is a photograph of 3 prolific home run hitters, great ball players, obviously. Harmon Killebrew finished his career with 573 home runs. Mickey Mantle had 536, I believe, and Willie finished, of course, with 660. And this is actually a 1968 card, but my investigation indicates this is actually Shea Stadium, the 1964 All-Star Game. And here is the card. How'd you like to have that group in the middle of your lineup? Thought this was a classic quote. Willie Mays' glove, where triples go to die. Great shot of Willie making a catch. I could have put up 50 photographs, but I wanted to show you this card. Probably one of the greatest catches of all time. 1954 World Series against Vic Wertz. Let me just say hey, Willie. You're off to play all the time you want on the best ball fields with the best ball players. And thanks for the memories, Willie. Rest in peace. God bless Willie Mays, and God bless everybody watching this video. We'll see you next time.